Just a Thought, a show that starts with a simple premise and explores how different people view different subjects. The greatest philosophies, the most revolutionary changes, and the greatest inventions. And all of them started with just a thought.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to give it a second. Let me make this screen go bigger. Yogi G, you there?
I'm here. I'm out of pocket, but I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
on my way back to the crib. You know, it's Sunday, and you gotta do what you gotta do to make sure you're ready for Monday. Because you got kiddos like me, you gotta make sure everybody got what they need. So, but I still had to tap in and see what's up with the 810 family on this Sunday night. What it do, Anna? How was your Sunday?
oh, girl. You mean how was our week?
Oh yeah, true that.
So, well, I can start off and then you can tell us about your week. So, this week, damn, was Monday a holiday? That's what it felt like. No, it wasn't no holiday. So this week I had a couple things, hats that I wear in the community, and we had a Ward 5 Leadership Council meeting, and I was excited to go to. That was with our lovely Mayor Bowser, and we were in there and asked a couple questions, and it was very interesting. But another time I'll share you the video with the question I asked her. It was very exciting because we did have a resist group come in and they started popping off like popcorn. And, you know, when people pop off like popcorn, when the mayor's there, you know, people start asking and she was like, "Don't call me a liar." And that was hilarious. I ain't gonna lie, that was hilarious because they were cussing at her and calling her out her name. And she showed that she was from DC. Don't talk to me any kind of way, you might get talked back crazy. Whether you're right or wrong, but that's what was going on. Then we fast forward Friday. Oh, Lord, I'm having a senior moment. Friday, what did I do on Friday? Yogi, what did we do on Friday? What, me and you together on Friday? No, I forgot about Friday. Lord help us. And then Saturday, yesterday, belonged to an organization called PAVE, and we had a meet and greet with our new PLE members. So that was exciting. Got to meet some new faces, some new people that say they're ready for the fight. And then also we were up the street from the famous No Kings protests. Was literally less than a couple blocks down from where we were. No, I did not participate in it. I did not want to be honest with you, because today I joined a protest. But before today, we went to go watch a movie, one battle after another, which I talked about it last time, but I didn't say anything. But this time, Yogi G went to go see it, and I went to go see it a second time. And then today, oh, Jesus help me. Today, I got up and we went to go protest. Well, our protest was a little different. We went to go dance in front of the ICE Detention Center in Chantilly, Virginia. So me and a bunch of lovely people that play big roles in our educational community, and people that are just advocates for immigration or advocates just for due process for people's rights and protection, was with us, and we danced. We recorded it. Lady was out there with a camera, recorded a lot of that. Soon to come, I will share with y'all. But we were out there. Of course, we had bubbles. We were dressed, but we weren't dressed like Portland, Oregon, you know, with the costumes and stuff. All right, Yogi G.
I mean, I don't know how my signal is on it because you know when we get down here by Blue Plains and stuff,
That's what I was telling
I
Mickey.
don't
I
know
said,
if it's
Mickey.
your signal or mine.
Oh, so you know, whoa, seems like it's doing in that. Hold on. Hello. Am I still on there? Spacely Sprocket.
Hey, I got your video up.
You did. So actually, you know what, Mickey, go ahead and put the video up. This is me asking a question to our mayor. All right, I know you heard the tensions in the room with the conversation, but when I'm sitting there, when I'm saying, just sitting next to your mom is an honor to sit next to your mom. And just like I am, I'm a mom, right? And we all send our kids to school to be safe. And so my question to you is, you know the rhetoric that's going around the city. And my question is what it deals with safety with our schools, with what's going on in the city, where ICE is detaining people in front of schools, and where officers are saying things that are not appropriate to our families and our community. This is not on you. This is what we're living with. And I just want to know where the guidance is, because DC Bilingual didn't get guidance. So my question to you is whether that's true or not. That's just a question. How do we work to make sure that NPD, we were told that NPD was not involved in ICE detainees in any of the situations that are going on? That's just the question.
Okay, so NPD is not involved with ICE detainees. Federal law enforcement is. NPD does not patrol with ICE. However, there are two agencies that are focused on federal immigration issues who remain a part of the task force. I am working to get them off of the task force. So who I want NPD working with and who the chief wants NPD to be working with are DOJ agencies that are outlined in my mayor's order. We want to get the Homeland Security agencies off of the task force, and I am working on that. Just like I did with ICE, I'll do with this.
Thank you.
So that was me at our Ward 5 Leadership Council. I'm part of this council in the Ward 5. I live in Ward 5. And with the lovely Bob King and Hazel Thomas, they are our president and vice president. So I belong to a leadership council who has been in DC. Both of them been in DC, over 70 something years, both of them. And they're really engaged in the community. And so in this leadership council that I am so honored for them to take me in. I'm probably one of the youngest people in there. They have done a lot in the community for years. And so, I'm happy that they allowed me to be a part of the Ward 5 Leadership Council. But part of it is we invite people out. So like we invited our chairman, Mendelson. I think I talked about it on here and I asked him a question. And then this time, the mayor came out, and out of respect, when the mayor comes, she usually does not talk long. She usually says what she needs to say, and she moves on. But for this particular meeting, of course, I was the first person to ask the question. The room had a lot of tension because prior to me, for them to do Q&A, she talked for the first 30 to 40 minutes. And then when it was time for Q&A, I knew I was the first one, because the Ward 5 Leadership Council gets the question first, but a lot of people were there through different resist organizations, like, you know what I mean, people that are like activists, like real activists, ones that jump up and would get locked up in a heartbeat, and they were popping up literally out of chairs. So the tensions were already high, but this is something that the mayor usually never does when she comes out. She literally invited the deputy of safety, which you see next to her, that's Deputy Apia. She invited the chief of police. She was sitting, when you saw me walk to sit, she was sitting in front of me, and her mother was there, the mayor's mother. I was sitting right next to the mayor's mother. And if you see me when I'm asking my question, I basically, out of respect, tell her it's an honor to sit next to your mom, especially as a mayor. You don't just get to sit. It's reality. They don't just let you sit anywhere. But because I belong to this leadership council, they have so much respect with a lot of the people that are kind of like run the politics in our city. So, I asked my question, and my question basically was, I did put a video up that went viral where the police told people don't call 911 when something bad is happening. Now, you know, the rhetoric of people, how they feel. My thing is, everyone has a right to be treated like a human, regardless of whatever they did. They still have a right for due process. You're not guilty till found innocent. You're innocent till proven guilty. And the way that this administration is working, where everyone is guilty, and then we find out 2 to 3 weeks later. And so the tensions are really high in DC. But the mayor, when she came out with her own, literally her own media. We already had our own media there that was going to record the whole meeting. She literally came out with her own channel 16, which is the channel that the DC government uses. She came out with every person you could think of that had a position in DC government. So it was very interesting to be a part of that. So that was one thing this week. That happened on Thursday. But from that, today, to finish up what I did this week, today, I went to the Chantilly ICE Detention Center. And so what's happening, there's a men's detention center. These men are not being fed. And like I'm saying, it's not just brown people that are being picked up. Anyone who has color is being picked up and asked questions later. And so in this detention center, we went to kind of like show love, went over there, put music on, kind of like dancing to kind of get the mood up. The unfortunate part is that we have to be careful because when you protest, you have to be on public property. So we were on the sidewalk, make sure we had nothing on the grass because that's federal property where we were. And that's about an hour and a half from where I live. So it was very interesting today. And then we left from there and went and talked about doing some more. My whole entire life, I will say this, here being on Just a Thought is part of what I've always wanted. I wanted the media. I always wanted to be a voice in the media to let the true story come out because so many of us speak about things, but we speak out of emotions and our thoughts. So we have a right to question people, not because someone says something. You have a right to question. And that doesn't, you should never feel when you question someone like it's a wrong thing. I was watching Neil deGrasse the other day, and he was talking about the power of communication, especially with AI taking over and what we're going through literally right now. Some people are really just watching certain news stations. And so like when me and Yogi G are on here talking about our thoughts, most of the time it's what we're seeing and literally experiencing. Go ahead, Yogi G.
No, I guess I just double tap on, with first.
Is it me? Hello. Mickey. Mickey, can you hear me?
Can you hear me on?
I can hear you now. Did you hear me the whole time?
No, because I got knocked off.
Oh, okay.
But what I was saying was, one, let me say what's up to the chat. Sherry Allen, Uncle Carl, I think he in there, Deborah Luna. I know it's football Sunday, so thank you for tapping in and see what we got to say here on Just a Thought. And I know I don't have to tell the people I just mentioned the rules of the chat, but just show that you're present and go ahead and hit the like button. Mickey, you need to say something?
Yeah, hold on one second. Would you have said something, Anna? I was talking, but I was muted.
I didn't hear Yogi at all, and I was making sure that I wasn't going.
Okay, I got you. Now you was on here.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I was saying was is that I had asked Anna if she was able to if she had seen the video that was circulating in that moment that she had just explained in real time where you saw the mayor having her press conference and Anna already gave some context as to what the meeting was about, but the video that's been circulating was when that action happened, when the people stood up and started basically pressing the mayor to give answers about why we're still seeing MPD work with ICE, even though you're telling us that they're not supposed to, or ICE agents, right? And it was, once again, as we've shown you before, um, for me, it was just about the way that she responded. Like, I wish I had a video tonight for you guys to show you just I call it arrogance that our mayor just operates under. There's no kind of comforting factors. There's no warmth, no nothing for us as a community coming from our mayor. And this is even with the election coming up in 2026. And that's a whole nother little jam that I was playing for DC that we're prepping for so that we don't lose power in a whole different kind of way. But I know that Anna, you and I talked about, how you felt it was a little over the top, the action, because her mom was there. And I was expressing how, it kind of come with the territory. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't have your mother in the room because she's also a community member, but you also know that you're doing some real villainous activity. So why would you bring your mother when people jumping out on you in other ways? That's why you brought your whole media team, so that just in case they popped up on you and they started to protest. I mean, as a media student, I do also realize that there's value in that storytelling of her having her mother there and people now all of a sudden, protesting. And if the headline is projected somewhere in our local media that our poor mayor got attacked by these protesters who were vigilantes, it's all about word and perception. So I'm gonna have to do my due diligence to see if there was any other counter media, since she had her own media team. But like, for as a person who assists people with organizing and building action, I was happy to see them challenge her in a space that we can see with our own eyes that she's continuously lied to the community about. So that's just my perspective on one of the things that she shared that you were doing this weekend. My weekend was pretty, I don't know if I call it boring, because like you shared, you and I were in the same space with the organization that we organize and advocate with, PAVE. But outside of that, I've been wrapping myself up in this civil rights. I think I mentioned it to everybody else about the what's up, Georgia Boy? And I ain't going. Thank you for tapping in. We certainly appreciate y'all showing up on this good Sunday fun day, Sunday. We're on here because one, Anna is not a Commanders fan. She just like going to their building, make a little change. But for us here in DC, I think y'all know, I heard in the streets, as I don't support the NFL, but that the Cowboys are currently playing. Them boys are playing them Bummanders. But we appreciate you being here nonetheless. But I've been watching the PBS documentary of the civil rights. What is it called? Eye on the Prize, Eyes on the Prize.
Yeah, the docu-series you were saying you're watching.
Yeah, and this thing, like, listen, I'll tell you once, twice, and thrice if I have to. If you guys get the opportunity to check this out, if you haven't lived it yourself, it is definitely something to dive into and study, because the way that my perspective has been totally shifted just over the course of watching this 14 episode docu-series that just walks you through all the efforts of action and the way that different communities strategize with us and against us as people of color. It's an amazing thing to watch. So I just like to throw that out there again for the good people in the chat. If you haven't seen Eyes on the Prize, the PBS docu-series, please check it out. But that's all I got for what my weekend entailed, other than the reason that I'm out of pocket right now and not on camera is that I'm out here trying to make sure I take care of my mother duties and get out of these streets. So go ahead.
No, I'm saying I know we didn't participate. Well, I know I didn't participate in any. Lord, I forgot the name of the Kings. No Kings. Well, I'll give you a little background on me. I am not that I want to be a martyr, but I I always say that word, people take that word and call themselves activists, and that's a serious word to call yourself. But I know that I'm an advocate. And so for me, you know, when I see the No King's Day, it's a little bit of back stuff with them. You know what I mean? And so before I go and sit there and put a shirt on from any of these campaign or any of these, you know, grassroots organizations that are out here, which there's a lot. I know Yogi G knows a lot of them. And I've been around a lot of people saying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But before I put my name in anything, like with us with PAVE, I think, Yolanda, you have like 9 years. I have like 8.5 years in January. I'll hit 9 years with PAVE. When I first joined PAVE, I made it my business to kind of learn it. So I didn't participate in everything. I didn't talk. And it's not until last year, I won last year, Parent Leader Award, but it wasn't really until last year or the mid whatever is when I started to see like, you know what, I can do this. I can be a part of this. But everything that we get involved in, like what we're fighting for, sometimes doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to keep that same fight. So like I think of Flint, and the reason why I'm saying this is sometimes we put council people in office and they look like they're going to do something for us. And in the beginning, they're like rooting. But we always have to make sure that we hold our counsel, whether they family, whether they a cousin, whether they, you know, what do you say, Mickey, FBI, friends, you know, brother-in-laws and in-laws, whatever they are to you, is that you hold them accountable because it's even where we have a lot of people that are running, but I get tired of people that are in position and they don't show you their fruit. Like, did you bring a resolution? Did you bring a recommendation? Did you bring anything to say that you are listening to us out in the community, and have you put it in front of them, whether they vote against it and it doesn't come up? But what can I say about you as a council member that I can say that you have heard our voice, you have been in the community, you have been talking to us, and you showed us some of the things that you're trying to put out there. And even if it might be even if it's being blocked, at least show your community the fruits and the things you're fighting for, because fighting to get rid of a council member, that's one thing. But can I see in your resolutions or in your I forgot the word they use when we're writing it, because that's what the council people hear, you know, when they bring it up, for them to resolution, right? Am I saying it right? But they don't in DC, I will say they do write a lot of resolutions. Our council member where I live at writes a lot of resolution. I just don't agree with him. He's probably listening to some part of our council. But in our community right now, the Ward 5 Leadership Council I belong to, we literally have some issues going on where the community is blocking us. And I'm talking about Black and brown people. So you know how they always have a separate meeting? Certain communities love to have a separate meeting. So we might be all together in one room, but then when it's time for them to go make the decisions on what they want to push forward, we're not a part of those conversations. So for me, all I'm saying is, in this climate that we are, even in Flint, wherever we are, I don't care how cool that council, whether you be on wherever you are with them, challenge them to show them what their resolutions are. Because remember, they still got to stay in position. So they still got to make certain people happy who are going to pay for their campaign. And is it 2026, Mickey? Is everybody up to be removed or be voted back in?
No, up this way, 2026, the mayor and all the council seat and state rep.
Oh, okay.
I got a video because what me and you was talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I got a video. This might answer some of which we was talking about earlier. I do want to play this video just so people can see, you know, that they can understand what I'm talking about. Let me play this video. It was sent to me in my message. Let me play this. A lot of people be sending me, ain't this a blip here?
Set of people control 8 billion people. This is what I call the elite. Let's say there's about 10,000 of them. How is it these people are able to manipulate the 8 billion people here? If you talk to a lot of naive people, they think, oh, it's the Rothschilds over here, or it's the aliens. They don't understand. It's not any one individual. It's not any one organization. There's something called swarm intelligence. If you watch all those birds flying together, not any one of them is in control. They move together as a unit. They're closely knit. They're quote unquote telepathic, but they move with a singular goal. The goal of the elites here is power, profit, and control. This is the goal. So if we look at it from a control system, what are the inputs they're sending into this system to achieve their goals? And what is the output that they seek? So if you're an elite over here and you're looking at those 8 billion people, how do you know you're achieving your goal? Are people getting fat, meaning unhealthy? Are people getting dumb, which means ignorant? Are people happy, which means are they being entertained? Are people divided? Are they isolated, disconnected? They don't want people here connecting with each other. Are people feeling helpless? Are people looking to the elites to save them? And they like that. They like when people here are looking to them, the enemy here, for their saviors. They really love that. They want people to be disorganized, and they definitely want people to be helpless. This is what they want. If you do not want to unite among people here and find who your own leaders are from below, they are quite happy. They're achieving their goal. Power, profit, and control. Now, how do they do this? You're going to realize it's not any one group. It's an interconnected, tightly knit group. They're all closely interconnected. In fact, they all go to the same restaurants. They have all their kids going to the same equestrian shows. They all shop at the same place. They all go to the same parties. You're not part of that. So who are these people? And what are the institutions of power that they have? Well, first of all, they have academia. Harvard, Oxford, Yale, MIT, IIT in India, the top 100 university presidents. These people are on boards of companies, but it's about 100 people who run the major universities in the world. NGOs, or nonprofits. These are people who run these huge nonprofit organizations like the Clinton Global Initiative, WEF, World Economic Forum, Center for Foreign Relations. And there's many other institutions like these, but it's the CEOs of these institutions. And these guys know each other. They definitely work together. The next thing you have is you have government, US senators, prime ministers of countries, advisors to government, think tanks, the Belfer School at Harvard, the Stanford Internet Observatory. They created the censorship infrastructure. This includes CIA, right? Intelligence organizations. And again, all these people know each other. They're interconnected. They're a swarm. They're tightly knit. They're not divided like these people over here. They're not disconnected. They're highly interconnected. So these people are focused on power. But then you also have a whole nother people, the CEOs of the global 2000 companies, other big organizations like big pharma companies, Pfizer, big agriculture companies like Syngenta, big investment companies, JP Morgan. You put Deutsche Bank here. You put Epstein down here. Okay, he was involved in all this. You also have the Fed, the central banks. All these people party together. When I say party together, I mean literally they party together, guys. Absolute close-knit friends. And in fact, the CEO of a global 2000 company will easily move to one of the investment companies down here. If you look at Target, big companies like Anheuser-Busch and Exxon, you'll find that at one point they were in one of these investment companies, and these investment companies sit on the board of these companies and they shuffle back and forth. So this is all about making money, right? These people are about making the dollar. These people are all about power. This is profit. And then fundamentally, you have control. Hollywood over here. This includes celebrities. You have their agents, Hollywood agents, like Ari Emanuel, as I've talked about, who's a guy who controls most of Hollywood. He controls Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the MMA, etc. The media companies. This includes Disney, Viacom. This includes now Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. These are large media companies. Google, you can put in there also. You also have big news stations, CNN, Fox. And combined with this, now we have another group, social media influencers. This is like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, these characters who have come in, but they do not exist without support from these guys. If you notice, overnight, a bunch of social media influencers have come out of nowhere. And these people are created by these people. So when you look at this, the academics, the NGOs, the government, the think tanks, the investment companies, the Fed, the big pharma, the CEOs, the Hollywood celebrities, media, social media influencers, and the news companies. And you can even take the top 10 of each one of these. They all know each other, everyone. And in order to manipulate these people, they need front men to manipulate these people with policies. Because what comes out are policies. These are the inputs they put into the system, propaganda. They feed these people purposely, people who they tell them are going to save them, like the Elon Musks or Trump or the Kennedys. Now, who are the people part of the swarm that does that? They have the obvious establishment. And these people are like the Clintons or the McConnells or the Obamas or the Bushes or the Queen of England. Typically people say, oh yeah, those guys are part of the establishment. But one of the things we teach at Truth, Freedom, Health, the most insidious people are what I call the not so obvious establishment. These are the people that are created to make sure that the 8 billion people look to the elites to save them. Trump, he's got a golden toilet. Mar-a-Lago, Kennedy's, completely bogus family. You can look at historically people like Gandhi or people like MLK. These people all came and were endorsed by the swarm. These people do not exist. They live in Malibu. They live in the places of the elites. And these people are the ones that are used to send the inputs of this controller. In system science, these are the controllers. These are the people controlling the inputs that go in. And remember, their goal is to make sure people are in the state of division, disconnection, and helplessness, particularly. They're observing all this. They have their sensors. And one of the features that they notice is that as long as people are in dysfunction and diseased mentally, physically, emotionally, they're happy. Well, what are those diseases these days? We see obesity. We see endocrine disruption, men with low testosterone, and people questioning their sexuality. We also see people.
What's up, Ana? Now, I was just talking about, you see how the different companies that he was talking about? So
well, I mean, that goes to what you're basically talking about with this shutdown, because the top 1% is basically has made a move. And so I guess his pushers like Trump, and them, this is all about a money grab. In my opinion, I'm listening to what he's saying. Influencers that we have here are basically people that are paid for, bought for, and they're out here to make sure to confuse us so we can stay divided. Because the reality is we always have this big dream. And like I said earlier to you, the big dream is that one day I'm going to be rich. So I'm going to sit here and follow anything that is being said that I think I might be a part of, because we want to simulate. We want to be a part of something. We don't want to be left behind. But it's amazing how when the guy broke down the health part, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And right now with this, this shutdown is basically because the premiums are going to go up, and the average American, depending on where you're at, I don't think they're over 60,000. And so if you put your premiums up, Mickey, and they're not having Medicaid or Medicare or any of these things, how are they going to survive? Because obesity, I've dealt with that. I've had surgery to lose weight, stress. You got, I forgot the other type of disease. A lot of us have it. And plus our digestive system, because of the food we're eating. And they control all of that. But, what was shocking was he put MLK on there. Did you see that?
Yeah. But if you go pull up some of the stuff, I forgot what was called the Big Six. I have to go pull that up so we can know who was trying. It was called the Big Six. Me and Brother Elliot was playing it on the show. I think he the one gave it to me. It was called the Big Six, and it would show how. I gotta go. I'm gonna look for it while we talking. But it showed how ML King was all in on it.
What you say, Yogi?
I was asking, we talking about the Big Six for media?
Yeah, no. Remember the Big Six? It was ML King. This was doing the civil rights.
Oh, those Big Six. Oh, yeah.
I forgot the name. I had played the video. I'm gonna look for it, but it was talking about how Kingdom, how they. I think it was John Kennedy. He was the president. How they gave him then like $1 million. They gave him like 700,000, and they ended up coming back. But it was for them to deal with the civil rights. For them, they can go back and get the people under control. You know what I'm saying? To take them off what was really going on. And so it was like that's when.
Okay, so here we go. So for Big Six civil rights leaders, the leaders of 6 prominent civil rights organizations who helped organize the 1963 march were MLK, James Farmer, John Lewis, Philip Randolph, Roy Wilkins, and Whitney Young. And then, is that the people you're talking about?
But then, yeah, but it also tell you how much they was paid to go back to their churches. You know what I'm saying? So it was like they wasn't there. They was there to keep the propaganda going on. Also, he basically was showing you just how your civil rights leaders was paid off. No different when Jordan Sheraton came with his book "We the Poison." When he said,
I mean, but you look at CK. You know who CK. When I say CK, you know who
I know you talk about. Yeah.
So like CK, a billionaire went up to him and said, "Okay, we're invested in, they're invested all the way through." It's funny when you're talking about this because we Yolanda Yogi G, talking fast. Yogi G, we went to go see the movie One Battle After Another, and in there, that literally was like the setup of the movie. There is one great big group that kind of controls everything, and so they decide on how to push the narrative further out and how they do things where media is telling you this is going on, but there's stuff going behind the scenes and they're controlling it. And that movie, you need to watch that movie. It's because when I can't even talk right. When that guy, the video you were just showing, when he was talking about, and going back to CK, when CK was picked up, he was young, he was in college, he stepped out, he offered that guy a lot of money. And the reason why he offered him a lot of money, because that boy, because he was a boy, was so in tune to what they were saying that he believed it to the part. He thought he was doing something good. I mean, he was going around preaching hate. And because people are blinded by hate, they thought he was doing something good. So it trickled down to even my family members, like where we sitting there debating. Now I don't debate with people with, when it comes to on Facebook and online, man, you can call me up. You got my number. I ain't doing that on social media. With the way people were thinking like this, like I was saying earlier, certain stations are different than other ones. Certain access is different. So depending on where you live at, the news in Iowa is different than the news in Oregon. The news in Oregon is different than the news in Wisconsin. And then you fast forward California to New York. We were having a conversation today when we went to go get something to eat. And I was explaining to them, like, y'all got to understand, when you were hearing all these people say, I want these immigrant out, what people weren't saying was there were some true stories that were happening that were not so good. Like, there was an undocumented guy that came through when he came through Texas and New York, and he was cutting people's heads off in New York. And so you got people who live in New York that was like, oh, hell no, we can't be having these criminals here. So what I'm saying is the narrative, there were some people that were truly criminals. They were brought in, they came into the country, but that's not everybody. But we allow Chrissy Noam, we allow ourselves to think that this is the real agenda, that these are all criminals. So to try to make it look normal when you sitting there when you sit there kidnapping people. But then what happens when they kidnap us, an American? The narrative's already been painted. Oh, they probably had a warrant. Because we quick to say when one of us get, hey, he probably had a warrant. Don't be quick to advocate for him. I always, going back to what I said from the beginning, I believe you are innocent till proven guilty, but society has flipped it another way. Go ahead, Mickey.
Oh, this was it right here, the Big Six. I was gonna play the video. I got this from his. This is the young lady I'll be watching. She from
Yogi G must have dropped off. Go ahead.
She from the Africa Diaspora News Channel. What is her name? But this is I checked. I'll be watching different things, but listen to what she said. This is about the Big Six during the civil rights movement.
I made this comment to someone the other day, and it goes like this. As long as we are not unified, Black misleadership can continue selling the false idea of hope and change to Black folks. Malcolm told us a long time ago about the Big Six. That hustle is still being used on us today. So what I want you to do is listen to Malcolm X tell the story. Check it out.
They had a meeting at the Carlisle Hotel in New York City. The Carlisle Hotel is owned by the Kennedy family. That's the hotel Kennedy spent the night at 2 nights ago. Belongs to his family. A philanthropic society headed by a white man named Stephen Currier called all the top civil rights leaders together at the Carlisle Hotel and told them that by you all fighting each other, you're destroying the civil rights movement. And since you're fighting over money from white liberals, let us set up what's known as the Council for United Civil Rights Leadership. Let's form this council, and all the civil rights organizations will belong to it. And we'll use it for fundraising purposes. Let me show you how tricky the white man is. And as soon as they got it formed, they elected Whitney Young as the chairman. And who do you think became the co-chairman? Stephen Currier, the white man. A millionaire. Powell was talking about it down at the Cobo today. This is what he was talking about. Powell knows it happened. Randolph knows it happened. Wilkins knows it happened. King knows it happened. Every one of that so-called Big Six. They know what happened. Once they formed it, with the white man over it, he promised them and gave them $800,000 to split up between the Big Six. And told them that after the march was over, they'd give them $700,000 more. $1.5 million split up between the leaders that you've been following, going to jail for, crying crocodile tears for. And they're nothing but Frank James and Jesse James and brothers.
So as you heard there, he was basically saying that the Big Six that was comprised of Martin Luther King Jr., James Farmer, John Lewis, A. Philip Randolph, Roy Wilkins, and Whitney Young, they met at the Carlisle Hotel with a philanthropist, right? And they also met with John F. Kennedy when he was the president in 1963. Now, they again were wanting to organize some sort of march, which we now know was the March on Washington of 1963. But as y'all also heard Malcolm X say, they took, quite a bit of money, especially in the 1960s, to say, okay, listen, let's stop fighting amongst each other because yes.
Hello, ladies. Now, can you understand like what's going on now?
Go ahead, Yogi G, because I've been talking.
What was the question?
I said, did you get to see the video?
Yeah, I saw it.
So what was your take on that?
Man, listen, everybody got somebody to answer to. And when you talking about the Big Six, I believe it. Because like I said, I'm still living in trauma. So y'all gonna hear about this for another about 13 weeks of watching this PBS docuseries. And so like, let me go back. So I wanted to touch on the thing that he was saying about how the influencers play a hand into this, like the circle of life. What's up, Miss Reese Barbecue? Thank you for jumping in. Because I think about this thing, like we went through, when we say we community, went through this whole big campaign about boycotting Target. And there's an influencer that's in the younger generation. They call him AMP. Or his name is Casanet, one of who has really been taking off, and it's a great story. He's a young man whose family's gone through strife of poverty, and he was streaming, and he gained this audience, and so now he influences the younger generation in the millions, and now he's starting to cross generations and stuff like that. So I say that to say they went and they took that protest and tilted it on its head, where it was making some good traction, by offering everybody under this influencer, under his brand of AMP, branding deal. And it blew all the work that took months and months for people to start really seeing, or Target to start feeling the brunt of people withdrawing their dollars from it, were eradicated within minutes. Because this was a young Caribbean, African young man who probably is not as well versed in civil rights or hasn't sat down and watched the docuseries like that. So just to touch on how that's still happening in real time compared to the Big Six, who have probably tried to morally show up and do the things that they thought were best for community. We know Martin Luther King spent a lot of time in and out of jail, and some of the other people that were named Some say it was political theater. Some say, you know, they just got tired of beating their head against the wall of like this fight of the system and the sacrifice that it takes for it. So I'm not justifying them showing up in history now being considered people who were paid to keep us blind or whatnot, or like to disrupt us or keep us off the path of liberation. I'm just saying that I guess, can you blame them? I mean, you could, but they had a lot to sacrifice, right? I'm trying to be on the devil's advocate end of hearing Big Six and not trying to curry it with hate.
No, reason I say that is because when he talk about the influencers, like how we was talking about, well, I know I've been saying it. Just think about, remember Van Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Bezos gave him $100 million. And when you talking about CK, remember he got an influx of 100 something. I'm thinking almost to $200 million. See how they can put people in these positions. Just look at the girl, the young lady who just took over, Barry White. She just bought CBS.
Yeah,
they gave her $200 million. She wasn't even pulling people like that. See, to me, it's like they pick and choose who. When you got these billionaires, they can pick and choose. It's no different than the music industry. Everybody with the talent don't be the one that succeed. It's the one who it's like it's the one who can play the game, because it's not always the one with the best talent succeed.
You got to play, Nick. You know the rules. They're not gonna put anybody that has. Listen, when Martin Luther King was giving speeches about peace and being nonviolent, everything was cool. He got to go as high up as shaking the hand with the original man, the president himself, and being able to put them on speed dial when he needed them. Whenever he used to go down, do action in the South, get locked up, he'd call Bobby Kennedy and John F. Kennedy, and they'd spring them out or they'd do some action. The moment Martin Luther King started saying that he didn't see, he thinks he set us on the wrong pathway to justice. And when he started speaking about how he would start leaning in on more about where Brother Malcolm was having his theories on where we should do and how we should liberate ourselves, snuffed out of here.
Oh no, you can't go against the system, and I tell everybody
you can't go
that.
against the system and not expect to pay the ultimate price, which is your life. Especially when you come to be influenced in the capacities that we're talking about, the Big Six. Right. So that's where I always, as an organizer, as a person that's trying to, be a solution oriented community member, that is one thing that we have to also bring on the forefront when we're talking about how do we keep the integrity and the moral compass of our leaders in such a system that constantly uses us against us. Like, what are we really expecting from our leaders to show up and to show solidarity? Are you asking them to live in squalor while they represent? Are you asking for their families to be in more jeopardy and not give them coverage? You know what I mean? Like, you got people like Fred Hampton, who was for the people. He loved the people. He breathed the people, and he died for the people, right? And even in the most somberest moment when they were interviewing people who were close to him, they still questioned how is it, and we couldn't protect them. As much as they loved them, as they wanted to, they couldn't protect them. And some people in power ain't ready to sit with putting their life on the line for the cause.
No, just think about it. Like, when you can have your person that who you feel to be fighting for, you can be bought. That's my thing. When you go just look at it, just because that video, even though that was last, it was last year, back in 24. When you really look at the stuff and it's telling you, because like people say, well, man, I was talking earlier, if you keep your boots to the ground, you'll eventually be a billionaire. No, they pick and choose who they want to have money. Like we think right now, and I know, and Dame Dash, see, they give Dame Dash a bad deal because when you talking, it makes sense. If I'm giving you 100 and 200 million, I gave you this. So if you go against what I'm telling you, I can take that from you. He's showing you you don't have control. If I gave you a loan, like in the music business, they tell you it's a loan that they give you. Even though they give you $1 million or $2 million, say $5 million, that's a loan that you have to pay back.
Nick, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, if we really looking at the model that the brothers laid out, right, about how
Right.
power really works and how it trickled down into the big system and how they gain power and keep profit going, right?
Right.
You think about the influencers part and then how you implement wealth. Like even when we moved and we shifted from industrial times of making our wealth into being market driven to where became consumers, that's how the shift in American economy happened. And so, in order for you to move weight, you got to have customers. Those who know that language, they know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So, we are the mark, we are the product. And so, when you talk about how people prioritize wealth, it's no different when you look at about in political space. That's why we have people literally trying to die on the Congress on the Congress floor. They don't want to give up the access to comfort that they become accustomed to by having access to all the things that they've been programmed with to that they need in order to be comfortable or told themselves that they needed to survive. People not willing to depart with comfort. And even for us being in the lower end of the succession plan of wealth here in America, we got to start looking at what do we value as being comfort. For example, Amazon, right? Everybody know good and damn well Jeff Bezos is like another minion in the crime villain league or whatever. What do you call them? You know what I'm talking about, Mick. The opposite of the Avengers. And yet, because of comfort, because even I admit I'm having problems divorcing Amazon because I've learned how to enjoy the comforts of just going to my front door and picking up what I need, not having to worry about whether or not they have it and stuff like that. But the other reality of me shopping in that comfort is that Jeff Bezos out here doing some real damage to our communities, both in front and behind. So, like, at the end of the day, we all got some soul searching to do when it comes to how we reprioritize our programming of what we value as being wealthy, what we value as being needed as to run our community. Even for us who have nonprofits or do community work, we're having conversation about how do we reprioritize where we get our money from to do the work. Because everybody at this point just been scratching and surviving out the same spot and plot. That's why you got people cutting each other off at the neck because my nonprofit better. I got the vein, I got the plan, but we all got to do the work because this whole nation's out here that are broken. So why can't we all do the work? But it's all about design. So we just got to do some real searching. Right now, the window of time, even though I know for some people in spirituality, time does not exist. But for those who are tracking the days and hours of Trump, we got a little bit of time left before we have autonomy. We got to show up on the front line. So that's Yogi G's 15 to 20 minutes of rant.
I get what you're saying. It's just so. How did y'all feel about the the No King protest? To me, it was like it's in my humble opinion. To me, I understand it, but I didn't really. It's to me, it's like we being led to another fight that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was really the No King protest, you would be feeling like that with down there all your mayors in these different cities. Just thinking about Tiffany Hanyard when people was watching Dalton, Illinois. Just look at Flint. Won't nobody say they can't see the No King protest here. But I've just watched it, all these people that got out, even if it was 100 or 200 people that was protesting for the No King protest in Flint. It just shows me how our leadership is really gone, because you couldn't get that many people to protest for bad water, that many people to protest for how the residents being mistreated by the council and the mayor. But you see what Trump doing, but you can't see what your own doing in your own city.
You're right, Mickey. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm not a fan of those big groups because everybody got their own little agenda in it. But at least it brings awareness for other people because, like I said, people's news medias, people's algorithm, I don't ever know how to say that word. Algorithms are different, and these protests sometimes bring awareness. Like I know, I know you saw all the pictures out there, probably out there of people the way they were dressed. You know, people put costumes on. And this administration, I think the picture was, you know, like the Wizard of Oz, and it was hilarious because it was like GOP has no courage, Trump has no brain, and ICE has no heart, and that is like literally the truth. So people are out there for different reasons. I get scared as an advocate that I do not get caught up on thinking that if I'm not making something out of it, that I'm doing something wrong. And what I mean by that is sometimes people make it a career, and you'll see people make it a career because it does cost money to travel, Mickey. And, you know, recording, just like on the news media, you do need money to travel and all that. You want to get to all these cities and you do want to do this. So people get sponsors. But I will say this. I never wanted to be a person that when they go back to tell my story, she was paid. Just like when Flint, when y'all were doing the recall, I did not know people were getting paid to knock on doors. I thought people were doing that as volunteers. And I'm not trying to bring up no craziness conversation, but things like that. When I think of a recall and I think of something like you really want to get rid of somebody, like I don't think now media, of course, you got to pay for the StreamYard, you got to pay for the person walking out there. But to knock on someone's door to tell them like, y'all got a shitty ass council member who is voting against everything in your best interest. I need you to check this off or sign off on this. But you know, I did not know that people, honestly, I did not know that people got paid to do recalls. I didn't even know that people got paid to go ahead and get people to vote for them. And that's how blinded I was by it, because I thought people were truly out here from their heart, truly working for this candidate to say, I'm volunteering because I want this change. But when I started seeing that money is being used, then, you know, people will sell you a damn dream just to make sure they get that check at the end of the week. Tell you any damn lies, so your integrity's out the wall, and you trust in this person, but they're getting paid. So that I just think it's another way of white supremacy trying to knock down us and say, look, they take $1. They're not real. They're just looking for money. So I guess I'm like kind of confused with Dr. Martin because he does need money.
No,
he does need money to travel.
No, on that aspect, Anna, but I don't see it that way, like going and get recall signatures on that. I'm just saying because people here like, listen, when you know what I'm saying, ain't nobody gonna want to go out there and not get paid for nothing. You asking some people to be out there for hours in this rain, in the snow. You know, the recall was in the rain. The Liddell, they ran one down there. She hit all seasons. It was recall, rain. I mean, winter, spring, and fall. They was out there trying to get recalled.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny. If they were paying attention to what the hell that heifer did to Eric Mays and to everybody on that council, all the damn lies she was doing, I wouldn't damn complain if I had to get up and knock on everyone's damn door to get her ass out of there.
Anna, but you saying you though, that's what we.
Yes, but I mean there is more people like that. But I think when we start, I'm not saying don't pay people, but I did not know people were getting paid. So I'm not saying the best person probably wasn't at that door.
No, what I'm trying to tell you is that it's just it always been a people have a short memory. Just think of all the people that was made, you know, that was his friends. Look how a lot of them went to the people.
Whoa,
but I'm just saying that was they really? You got to go back. You know what I'm saying? Was it friends or what? Because you could, you know, as long as I can benefit from you. And what I'm saying is, and back to the far as people paying, but that's just in life. You have to get somebody something. You want people to be out here walking down there 6 and 7 blocks for you, and they love you. And then when you get in that seat, I'm just saying.
When you say you, are you talking about a person running for?
Yeah, I'm talking about the politician, whoever running for that seat.
Well, I can understand. You know, it does take money, and I'm not saying, but I'm just saying that we're not a people no more where we do things unless we're getting something. I think we have gotten to that point where we think we always supposed to receive, and I just think that our advocacy sometimes we have to give sometimes back. We have to give back is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's hard to get back when you got to put something. You know, you got to put food on the table. You know what I'm saying? See, we acting like now. I see what you saying, as far as people who got it. I don't want to conflate the two things. See, the big six they was paid to do a job. Now, as far as people that they went back, that's like the pastors. When you see all these politicians that's finna be running to these churches come next year, that's finna be running. Do you think the people that go to the churches getting help, or is the pastor really benefiting from that?
Well, I always say the church should be separate from any church you go to, and they telling you who to vote for. They got a candidate, bring it up in there. That's just chaos to me.
Yeah, but Anna, that's what we know was gonna happen. We know these politicians finna go to these churches. That politician not gonna go to a church that's not friendly to him.
But so Mickey, do people go to church like they used to? I don't think so.
Honor them politicians wouldn't be going to them churches with nobody in there. I'm just saying, when you see them politicians go to these churches, who getting the help? Is the pastor getting the help, or is this flock getting the help?
Well, it depends on the church. They're getting grant money to keep that place flowing. Now, how they're using the grant money, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm just saying the church, some churches have a lot of Yogi, you talk about that church with the Proud Boys, because the reason why I know where you're going.
You don't want to just you try to. If I seen a person that do the Latin tango, is you right now, because you don't want to. What I'm saying is, Anna, is either a yes or a no. Most time, 9 times out of 10. That pastor gonna have a relationship with that politician. He might have a nonprofit, but who you think that nonprofit is gonna benefit the pastor?
Yeah, but the people in the church. But that ain't how it is. I know, but the people need to be educated on shows like this to stop saying just because your pastor has somebody up in that pulpit does not necessarily mean that God is telling you to vote for that person. God gives us all discernment. He doesn't give just the pastor. He is just there to make sure that the word keeps going. But nowhere in the Bible does it say that the pastor, the preacher, the leader of the church is who decides on how you move forward. We're all responsible for ourselves. According to the word of God, when we leave, we go to answer to him by ourselves. So I just have to give it more on people too. That we need to wake up. And just because the pastor or the person we so-called respect doesn't necessarily makes wise choices, because a lot of time they're driven by money. I mean, that's a hard conversation, but I'm just saying in the newer generation, people ain't going to church, Mickey. I don't know about Flint, Michigan. I'm just saying the churches are empty.
They might not be at full capacity, but what I'm telling you is the church is still one of them politicians finna be. I know one thing in Flint. I don't know about in D.C. I know come next year, you're going to see a lot of churches going to be having a lot of the politicians going to be coming to them churches. I'm just telling you. They're going to be popping up at all. Well, you know, I'm just saying, you're going to see a lot of church. You're going to see a lot of these politicians going to be running your council people, your mayor. On that case, well, then if we go by how you just said, Anna, it's supposed to be church supposed to be separated from politics, right? Well, then we shouldn't see no politicians coming to no church then.
Yep.
But that's how we used to organize. So that's what people are used to. And we still have a mixed generation happening that still have power in voting. And so for us in the Black community, we got the older generation that was out there with Martin Luther King and them. And that's the safe spaces that they created to come to the church and use unified voice to decide what power was. But then you saw how it got fragmented because people stopped believing in the unity of church because of some of the mess that was happening. I might just be speaking from my own church hurt, so let me stay out of it. But I mean, to your point, Mickey, people still are very much not separating church and state when it comes to their politics. So it's a natural space to go into when we talk about how they go and they get power. And just for giggles and things like that, because I see we at 8:04. Man, if y'all want to see in real time what we talking about, and you like yours with a little more dramatic flair, I always want to recommend people who they clone Tyrone, or they know how they clone Tyrone. It's on Netflix. The joint with Taraji P Henson, I think, might be Taraji P Henson. I know Jamie Foxx is in there, and some of the things that we talked about that they use to distract us and to deteriorate our communities and keep us isolated definitely came up in there. Church was one of them. The liquor stores is another one of them. The chicken is another one of them. And it's just like you see so many things that are definitely in the space of like tearing our communities down that we need to get better with tracking, that you can relate to. But Sherry Allen, I know you was writing in the chat. I just want to shout you out and highlight what you said. Remember the backwood meetings to escape or strategize. A lot of them chose selflessness. I think I read that. Selfishness or selflessness. Yeah.
Philip Johnson wrote a lot too. Look at Philip Johnson.
Oh yeah. He said typically that's how people get their feet in the door, starting out in politics, doing petitions and pounding the pavement. Some people try and go straight to campaign manager. Money is one of many things that can motivate someone further. So is it about what we focus on then versus what distracts us from our goals or interests? If I remember right, okay. Yeah, so Philip Johnson, let me just start with the first one. Yeah, it's easy because once they see that you have passion for understanding politics, and then if you are one of those people that happen to be a people person and they see you making connections, the people that fund the people that they want to get in office will reach out to you. And I'm speaking because I know from a space when I started earlier in here, I met a whole lot of people who were asking me what my dreams, goals, and ambitions were, and were asking me what can they do to help, and they left it on that. And anytime that I get ready to change my mind, I'm sure that they'll be right there around the corner to exploit the fact that I love my community and want to make sure that I'm a problem solver, not a problem starter. And money is one of the things that can motivate someone further, for sure. Because money motivates and moves the charger. And so, like, I mean, with those, self-preservation is the first motivation. Sometimes for people, the only motivation. So when you talk about money that's going to move something that you've been struggling with, like poverty for this whole time, sometimes money wins when people have their different priorities of what comfort and wealth is and what their prioritization of what wealth means. So that's just a couple of my perspectives today. I don't know, Mickey, Anna, what y'all got?
Unmute yourself, Anna.
Sorry, I just said I'm muted. I hear what Mickey is saying. I'm just saying that, like, depending on where you're at and where you live at, it's just a little different. Like, I feel like in DC we have a lot of, we have a lot of groups and cliques, so much because we're in the nation's capital that is where mostly the council of the people that are running come to. We have so many events, town halls. Everybody named Mama got something. Like when these people are elected officials, they get invited everywhere. It's like picture moment everywhere. But as far as the churches, I hear what you're saying, Mickey. I will say I do know, like down south, that's a huge thing. The churches are still functioning as like they did back then. So I do know that down south, a lot of people that are running, they do go into the church. But I guess depending on where you're at, it's just a little different. It's just a little different. It shouldn't be like that. But Mickey, like, I feel like them churches that are too involved in those like in Flint, like those preachers that were sitting there protecting Liddell when she lied on I forgot his name, the guy from Wardy. I forgot his name that quick. When Liddell lied through her teeth on what he said to her, and that thing went viral with Richie, I was irritated with them. I said I wouldn't want to go to that church, and I will always bring that up. I don't care how long I got a podcast. I lived in Flint. I will always remind them, look at this church. They gonna sit there and stand behind a compulsive liar. And we shouldn't do that. We should hold our churches accountable too. Whether you gotta put them on blast, I'm not saying cuss them out, but put them on blast and say, are you truly following the word of God? I mean, we sat there, look at CK. People want to fight you down. Don't talk about him. He was a man of God. He was preaching hate. And so you got people that are preaching lies on pulpits every single Sunday, or standing behind a liar and telling you to believe and trust them and follow them while they putting a liar in front of you. God didn't say that all these preachers were going to heaven because you're doing action. I mean, that's the world we live in now. That's the world we live in now. A lot of people think because I go to church every single Sunday, or because I sit there and I pay my tithe, and that's all I need to do with some good acts. No, it's your life. It's your relationship with Christ. That's all I'm saying.
I got one more thing to say. At 8:10 p.m., I'd like to give a hearty, petty congratulations to the Cowboys for rocking it out today. I thought that my star was dimmed a little bit because I do not support the NFL, but in this great win, I'll take it. It was a whopping 22-44. The Bumanders still living up to the dream of being bums.
The Commanders won?
She didn't hear my announcement.
Who won?
Dallas.
Oh, so we played them on Christmas.
No, y'all played them today.
No, but I said we played them again. They're gonna be Cowboys.
Commanders fan, Vicky. I told you she a stowaway. She is stowaway. I'm the Commanders. And so anyway, boo-hoo to the Bumanders. Y'all lost today, as it should be, because they would do right by us no way. The score is 22-44. Peace, good people. I ain't got nothing more to say.
I get to see the Detroit Lions coming up with November. What is it? November 2nd or November 9th? I will.
I know they play tomorrow though.
Yeah, no, I'm talking when they come to DC to play us.
No, oh yeah, we're gonna whoop y'all. And I will say this: if it is council tomorrow, I will mirror it because I will be watching the Detroit Lions. It's 2 Monday night footballs tomorrow, and the Lions come on at 7. I will be at a TV near me. It's in my living room.
All you gotta do is broadcast it.
Yeah, that's all I will do. I will broadcast it, but I will be watching the Detroit Lions tomorrow, family. And I see y'all because Michigan won. Go Blue.